Hello, welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and today it's the August 20th, 2022. Today we have a very informative show for you. We'll be talking about two very interesting issues. The first one would be, should the Minister of Finance and his deputy be let go or be fired or resign themselves? That's the first question we'll be asking. The second one would be whether it is good that Ghana has decriminalized marijuana for industrial use. For these issues, I'll be having with me my buddy, Lifetime Legacy. He's already in the studio. I could see him. We'll also be joined by Ato Kamina Danso, who is somewhere touring some executive exclusive countries and having fun, but he promised that he will take his time to join us. If you're lucky, we may have Paul Disoso joining us. Kojo DC will be joining us. And Efa Amayao would also be joining us for this important discussion. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to start the conversations. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu, and this is the Ghana Agenda.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Hello, welcome to the show. Again, my name is Alfred Amuzu, and you're watching the Ghana Agenda. If this is the first time, the Ghana Agenda is a political show dedicated to issues occurring in Ghana. We are on every Saturday between 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're in Central, that is 1 p.m. In Ghana, that is 6 p.m. So today, I'll be joined by my very good friends, Paul Disoso, Lifetime Legacy, who's already in the studio, Kojo DC, who speaks for the MPP, and also Efa Amayao, to discuss two things. One, we'll be looking at whether or not Ghana's decriminalization of marijuana, it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing. We heard some, psychologists had already made or given their take on the issue, but we'd also want to hear what my guest would what they think about it. Now, if you want to, contribute to the show, please put a comment in the comment box, and I'll be happy to read that out. Also, we'll be talking about whether or not the Minister of Finance and his deputy should do us a favor and resign. And there's a good reason for that. One, we think that each time that we get a loan, that they tend to benefit from it. And there's actually a video to that effect that was produced by, or that was that had KKD discussing this issue. I'll play that video and then ask questions to my guests of what they think about the Minister of Finance and his deputy gaining from our demise. Anytime we go in to take a loan, that they are able to use their companies as transaction advisors and make money out of that. So we'll play that video and have our discussions about it. In the meantime, let me introduce. Matter of fact, let me play something first about this guy who was talking about the CD and how Akufo-Addo is performing. And then when I come back, I'll introduce my guest and we'll start the show. So take a listen to this. We'll be right back.
Bonio, Nana, we are champion. To Adolfo, you there. Hallelujah was sorrow. Listen, Nanado was sorrow. Na Bibi was sorrow. Hey, Nanado was sorrow. Missy Anije Benamenya, Nanado Anije. Auto Benamenya, Nanado Auto. Angodi was sorrow. Nanado. Nanado, we are champion. Who? Obia Timu. Umresu. Say $1 no for $1. No for. Konkori waye. Koko na waye. Ogo. Isi na waye. Na waye. Koko. Nana. Oluma wa bomodin pa. Una udada Ghana for na yetu abama. We are champion. But me blame no. Me blame no. Me blame Santifo. Say no we tribalism. Ade na enye omusi eye. Ade na enye omusi eye. Ene ufa $1. Enu nie. Ufa $1 na wafai. 10 CD. Ufa $1 na wafai. 10 CD. Ufa $1 na wafai. 10 CD. Now we are champion.
All right. So I agree with everything he said over there, except the tribalism part. But essentially, he's talking about, how Nana-Addo has caused us to, have the worst performance of the CD ever. Let me take the opportunity to welcome my guest to the studio, Lifetime Legacy. Thanks for joining. How are you doing today, Lifetime Legacy?
I'm doing well. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
Thank you. And also, I think Kojo DC is on. Kojo DC, we can see your face, but I can see you in studio. How are you today? And thanks for joining the show.
Thank you, Amuzu. Lifetime, how are you, brother?
I'm doing well, bro. I'll get in touch with you after the show for a healthy conversation.
No problem. Always. We're here for it.
All right. So I like the camaraderie there. These two individuals you're hearing from on the opposite side of the aisle. In other words, Lifetime Legacy speaks for the NDC. Kojo DC speaks for the MPP. But you can hear them talking about the fact that they will reach out to each other. And that tells you the healthy nature of our politics and how we judge, but at the same time, we are friends first. Now, what I want to do is introduce the topic, which is the first one we want to talk about, being whether the Minister of Finance and his deputy should resign. Why should they resign? We know that, I think I'm getting feedback from one of you. So let me see, maybe Lifetime Legacy. Yes. So we know that, the Minister of Finance is the owner of Data Bank. Maybe he has put that bank in a trust, meaning that he doesn't necessarily have managerial authority over the bank. But yet, this bank is always used as a transaction advisor each time the country has to go for a loan. And the complaint is that it creates a conflict of interest situation for him, especially where he is serving as the chief caretaker of our finances. He cannot have a company that is affiliated with him one way or the other, being employed by that same organization. There may be things that he may not necessarily ask the right questions, is because he's the owner of the bank. If the bank is making a mistake, how would he be able to hold them accountable? And is he motivated because the bank makes profit out of assisting the country? Does that motivate his desire to always go for loans? Now, then others say, or his supporters say, I mean, if we need a loan, we need a loan. If we have to go for these loans, we do have to go for them. This company has been helping our government make, or undertake these loans way before even he became the Minister of Finance, and we didn't have any problem with that. So why do we have a problem with it right now? Just because he's the Minister of Finance, should somebody who becomes a minister necessarily lose or not have companies that he may have had a previous, relationships with, not participate in continuing to assist the country like they used before? So those are the two critical issues with this matter. I know we get emotional and would quickly react and say that, because his company or the company that assists with the transaction advisory happens to belongs to him, there's likelihood of malfeasance. But is that a reality? And that is the question we want to tackle today. I'm going to play a video. It's very long, but about 6 minutes, from KKD, and he, had an interesting view on this. So let's take a look at that video quickly. When we come back, I want Lifetime Legacy. As a matter of fact, I want Kojo to be the first to take a bite on this. Kojo, let's watch this video. When we come back, I need you to answer some questions for me. We'll be right back.
I read a report yesterday that broke my heart. I saw how much Ghana owes, but I also found that apparently the Minister of Finance's company or former company is a transaction advisor to the monies we borrow. So as Ghana gets poorer, the Minister of Finance's company or former company gets richer. Is this what we want to continue in this country? Do we want to elect people into office, give them their pay and their perks, and then allow them and their friends and their companies or their former companies to be the very beneficiaries of the woes of our country? This is not only about the Minister of Finance. This is about Parliament. Parliament, you must be ashamed of yourself. You have failed the people of Ghana. Because I don't think from the time of Nkrumah to date, whoever is the Minister of Finance should be benefiting every time our country goes to borrow money. Is that what happened under everybody in this country? What precedent are we setting? Yesterday when I read the report, I was so broken. And I was like, do people know this? So I called 4 different people. Some in civil society, some in government, some in the former government. And they said, but this is general knowledge. And I'm like, it's general knowledge, and Parliament thinks it's okay. So whoever wins the next election will also set up their own companies and be the transaction advisors when we go and take a loan. What is wrong with us as a people? So the person's motive for even going for a loan for me now is not clear, because every time we take a loan, their company makes money. Does this make sense to us as a people? Look, we have leaders of industry, some who have been, deprived of their finances. And in the meantime, the people who are sitting in power are stealing us blind. And all people can tell me is, but this is general knowledge. And then Jimmy and Kwasiasem Nekosu. What a shame. What a damn shame. When they are out of power, will they want whoever comes into power to repeat what they're doing? This is not NDC MPP. Parliamentarians, you are supposed to help us protect the public purse. You can't just go and sit there and vote, I am MPP, I am NDC. Vote your conscience and vote your constituency.
What are you expecting the MPs to do?
The MPs? But you cannot become the transaction advisor for going to take loans when you are the Minister of Finance. How is that possible? They are the legislators. If they won't speak up about it for the whole country, but for me taking time to read this much over the weekend and yesterday, I wouldn't know the details of this. So now go and bring all the loans we have taken and show us all the transaction advisors and see whether they have links to the presidency or the people who are the ministers or the people who are in legislature. Why are we doing this to ourselves? What kind of nonsense is that? Hey,
If there's a conflict of interest,
conflict of interest is where it starts.
So Stride should be on the ball on this one.
And where are they? Where are they? Look, right now, Ghana has become each one for himself, God for us all. I was speaking to one of my staff yesterday. He said, boss, I went to buy gas. 14 kilo cylinder now is 152 Ghana cedis. 150 Ghana cedis to fill the cylinder, 2 Ghana cedis for the rubber. When I take 152 Ghana cedis out of my 1,400, how much is left? Now water is going up, electricity is going up, and some people who we have put into positions of authority are raping the country. Why? Why? Sika here na mubedi. You are leaving it for your children, and your children know you are doing this, and your children will come and tell other people's children that mo papa and mo bra, because you were stealing from the people. So those people whose parents did not steal from the people will be suffering, and your foolish children will come and tell those children mo papa and mo bra. Baby, mo papa and sika. What is this? And nobody wants to talk about it, because if you talk about it, they'll impoverish you. Hey, massa, obi nkuwa wa obi. If nobody kills you, you die your own natural death.
That's it.
All
Very
right.
much, Chrissy. Went from ghost names swiftly to conflict of interest. But that's how it happens on this show.
Which is worse, that
Yeah,
conflict of
it's
interest or the ghost
worse
names?
than-
How much are they
definitely.
taking from those ghost
COI
names?
is definitely
It's
better.
bad.
It is.
But there are things that are worse, and those things are being committed by the people that we have.
All right, welcome to the show again. And you've heard KKD went on and on about the fact that this conflict of interest issue with the Minister of Finance is one that we should not allow. His question is, what is wrong with us? Let me put that to Kojo. Kojo, what exactly is wrong with us? He's shifting the blame some way to Parliament. You think Parliament should be a little more up and doing. Do you agree with him that once you become a Minister of Finance, that you should be, prohibited in one way or the other from having your company continue to serve as transaction advisors whenever we go for loan?
Thank you again, Amazu, and thank you for the listeners and viewers. I'm sorry I have to be on the. I just came back from the road, so I'm tired. I want to be in the room for a minute. That's why I'm off. But next week,
Okay.
inshallah, I'll be in there. And again, to my brother, Lifetime Legacy, and yourself again. All right, let me start though with it. You're asking if blaming Parliament. Let me just say, first of all, for somebody like KKD, who with the structure that he is, and is just saying he just knew that some Ghanaian banks are transactional advisors to government loans. Is so rich that means a lot. I mean, for him to just saying he doesn't know, he just read about it. It just put me so much into questions because, like we all know, before I even go on the finance minister, most loans that are taken for Ghana, there's always a transactional advisors, and this is not the first time that something of that is being is happening in our country. So we should put that in across. Either we allow Ghanaian companies to participate in these loans to make some foreign money and help our banks in Ghana, or we decide that at the end of the day, we'll allow foreign banks to take those advantages while we are the ones going to pay for the loans. So that's something that we all have to put in the thought, because at the end of the day, the reason why this thing has been, it's not the first time, or it's not something that is not known. It is known, most, I know you know it, I know it, Lifetime Legacy will know it as well. But the thing is, should we blame Parliament? It's the same Parliament, or what I would say the framers of the Constitution had put in something in terms of measures as to why somebody should not profiteer or get anything. But they also have given another leeway of, if you're able to disclose and do all that, you are able to do that. Until we establish that somebody, for instance, is just getting loans for Ghana just to make profit, we should be very careful how we trade, because at the end of the day, if the tables turn, is still going to come back as one of some Ghanaian companies, or two or three, will be involved in terms of being a transactional advisor. So we should be very careful. I hate calling names, people when we just make mere allegations and without knowing all the facts. I wish you could have given us this topic as of yesterday so I could do a lot of research. But for the few that I've heard, it seems that we are being too emotional in terms of how things works and how things supposed to be, right? So in all our ears, the ordinary person is seeing this as, oh, this is thievery. Why are you benefiting on that? That is the what do you call it? The perception out there. But when books people, the bookkeepers knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Is it that somebody is in government that is why they are having that advantage? I would not say yes or no,
Right.
because at the end of the day, um, whichever government comes in, whoever is going to be chosen is going to come from some linkage to a political party, which has been the norm. Can Parliament change it? I don't know. This morning I was listening to News File, and a professor who teaches law said, I think he always go back to the Constitution. The Constitution is like just give an open question without we knowing the answer for it. So it just comes out, then people take advantage of it. Does it look bad? Of course, it would always look bad when you're in government and something. But is it the first time the finance minister, especially his bank, Data Bank, have been used to make transactional advisor to our government loans? I don't think so. Even if it's one, that it means that at least he has been participated whilst they were not in government.
Right. So you're saying that constitution perhaps might be an avenue to address this, but I don't think we can actually legislate conflict of
Variety.
interest.
Well, I mean, no, there's the article, the Constitution gives out how conflict of interest are supposed to be managed, right?
Yeah,
but
but what I'm about to say is that the power is in the hands of the executive. The president has the power to control situations of conflict of interest. If he is the appointer, he is the one whose behalf the Minister of Finance is executing his duties. And if he thinks that the Minister of Finance, by engaging his formal company, puts himself in a conflict of interest situation, only him can actually resolve that. So I'm saying that the answer may not necessarily be in any constitutional amendment. The answer is already there. The presidency should have the power to ensure that or it's actually duty bound to ensure that such things do not occur. Don't you agree?
So if I have to have anything, what you're implying is the president should sack the finance minister.
That's exactly the question. The question today is whether the finance minister should resign or whether he should be sacked.
So if we just have to persecute people in terms of not having the facts of whatever by just being emotional of saying, oh, because his brother is the president, he's the MPP guy, he's the finance minister, so we will not even look at the facts, but at the end of the day, we just have to go and say, hey, fire him. That won't be good for natural justice. At least there should be some common natural justice out there to have both sides of the story. Then we can make judgment and deductions out of it. But without doing that, and we're not, let me just land on this and then you can ask me a question, please. Without doing that and just jumping on the gun as well, because it shows some conflict of interest, it means it's a conflict. If you walk like a duck and talk like a duck, it's a duck. Is that what we want to just say? Then that we are not giving justice, because the table will turn at the end of the day and somebody has come. Is that the way we want to have people who, for instance, know the how-be of banking system and financial system, irrespective of their political parties, when they come into power, they will not be involving in government issues because it will be, quote-unquote, a perception that there's a conflict of interest? We should be very careful.
What we are saying is it just makes good management sense, right? Because conflict of interest, we are not necessarily saying that there's evidence out there that the Minister of Finance stole anything. What we are saying is his company benefits from help assisting as a transaction advisor. And he is the one who decides whether we go for a loan or not. And the frequency of, you could just imagine how much debt we are in today. It's it's been widely discussed that this government has been the one that has plunged us into the most debt, and we are saying that because of his position and his relationship with the company that advises us whenever we go for a debt or we go for a loan, there is the likelihood that it motivates him. And so the conflict of interest, we don't have to have an evidence of theft or evidence of someone toward. We just need to know that you are in a position, you find yourself in a situation where you are likely to be compromised because of your relationship with your previous organization. That's all we are saying. So
All right.
I don't
So
know that you asking for us to get some evidence before
yeah,
we say this
so
thing. It's yeah.
okay. So for instance, let me ask this very question.
Mhm.
Are you saying that Kendall Foriata's bank is the only transactional advisor for all these loans?
Well, the other one is the black. What does it call it? It's
No, is
for
that and then Dubois? Is that the only two? Is that the only two firms that
yeah,
are
the
doing
two
that?
major
They
ones,
are.
and the
They
thing
are.
is,
They,
even if they're not the only ones, right? They're the two major ones. They play a role in every single loan that we've taken so far. And the thing is, even if they're not the only one, the mere fact that even those two banks or investments outfits, the mere fact that they assist on a project that is sanctioned by their owners, it's troublesome. Should be troublesome to anybody.
so this is what the reason why I'm not being defensive here, right? The reason
Right.
why I'm saying that I'm looking at it in a holistic way. I remember, and I'm going to say this. It might not be wise, but I have to. I remember when the NDPP was in power, the former finance minister, Dufour,
So
was
Tekbe.
making the no Dufour. I'm not talking about Setepe.
Before, okay.
Yeah, Dufour was making, and we all in we were in a position then. People were saying all sorts of things about them. It has been it's like the norm in our country. Does it look good? I don't think it does. But at the end of the day, are we going to bring foreigners to do that? And then, secondly, let me say this to end it.
We
You're
are not
talking
saying
about,
bring foreigners. You can't say
yeah,
because it's
so
not good, therefore we should allow foreigners. I mean, they are not the only
exactly. So,
qualified institutions that can do advisory on transaction advisory whenever we go for loans. Right? I'm sure
so,
there are other organizations that can do that. All we are
all
saying
right.
is that having them, at least they can have a cool off period when the Minister of Finance, who is the owner of Data Bank, is in office. There could be a cool off period where Data Bank does not lead our efforts to go get loans. So that when kind of Furiata is no longer the minister, of course, it's open game. They've been helping the government do the same thing before. Nana Akufo-Addo became president. So it just makes sense that if you stand in that position, if you put yourself in a position where there may be compromise, that you step aside, or you let your company step aside and have some cool-off period until you are no longer there. That way, it is fair. The competition would be fair for all the organizations that can do the same thing.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from. But first, let me before I answer those questions. But these loans are not just the finance minister company or Dubois or other ones that are associated. Just go in there and say, hey, we need $10 billion, give it to her, we'll make us money out of it. No, this is something that goes through cabinet, that goes through parliament, which has both sides of the political party. And these loans are approved. And they also always, and especially the finance committee, knows about the transnational advisors to all these loans. But
Mhm.
now they has raised the question of because the country is hard and people have, like I said, this thing KKD said, like people are raping people was like something like I've heard some months ago that why is you think that people are raping just to go take a loan so they can make profit? That is not fair. And then to answer your question, yes, are we saying tomorrow if the NDC is in power, they are going to bring Ken Oforiatta a thing to come to do a financial advisor? No, it's not going to be like that. But that is something we all have to look at. At the end of the day, perception in politics is a lot. It's just creating a lot of confusion everywhere. But at the end of the day, is there any illegalities out there that the finance minister is doing? If there is any, then they can head up to court or there should be prosecution. But if it's not, and it's just on quote unquote, because they are in government, because his brother is the president, and because he's a finance minister, those decisions are not taken by himself. It's taken through a process. Parliament is there, cabinet is there, and then civil society. When loans are going to be secured, these are not something you just sit in the room and just bring for somebody to just rubber stamp. It goes through a process, and in all these processes, is that only today because KKD said something of that sort, then it has become something that we're all crying about? Adogo has been saying this. Most NDC people have been saying this. Are we going to change this? That belongs to all of us to think about it. Is that something that we want to do, or as a country, we should have a body that will be sitting down and doing that, irrespective of which government is in power? That's the question we all have to ask ourselves.
Okay, great. Let me take these two comments quickly, and then we will go to Lifetime Legacy. Cody Mo says, great show. Cody Mo, thanks for watching us. We really appreciate that. Mr. Isaac Ruhala Musa says, you see when he's deviating the topic to criminal saying. I don't understand that last piece, but thanks for joining the show and thanks for contributing. Lifetime Legacy, you've heard your brother say, you have your brother said, we shouldn't be emotional. We shouldn't necessarily judge kind of Oriata unless there's some real criminal act that we can point to, which, it's right to say so. Togby, who's watching me, is saying, good job today. He says, my lighting is a little bit off. Your shadow is behind it. Yes, Togby, I haven't, I'm on the road, so I haven't traveled with my lights. Hopefully I can acquire some before next week, but thanks for that observation. I can see my shadow on this side. Exactly. Thank you so much for watching. So Lifetime Legacy. Komina Japan, who used to be the secretary of the NPP, also had something to say about this. I'm going to play that. In his view, he still thinks that the Minister of Finance should resign. And his argument is that he has caused the economy to get worse. I want us to combine those two things. His company is advising anytime we go for a loan, which has caused us to actually accumulate the biggest debts ever in our history. And the accusation is that he's motivated to go for these loans because this time he goes, his companies get paid, which essentially means he get paid this time we take a loan. But at the same time, we have seen the highest inflation in our country, currently hovering at around 31% or so. And for that reason, let's listen to what Komina Japan has to say. And when we come back, I want you to answer some questions for me.
Going to damage the brand of our MPP. Those of us, the patriots of our party, we have to stand up and say it. Life is not about position.
Yes, they will see some of us going contrary to the government.
I'm not going contrary to the government. My life is not determined or fashioned by the positions I occupy. It is determined by the impact, the positive impact we make on society, on people. If one day Whitman will be Asrea, in my view, you've done your work for the day. And this is and I hope the president is listening to me, his good friend, his campaign staffer in 1998. And this is genuine, coming from the bottom of my heart. You should not allow people who don't have this country at heart to sing this country. He has worked too hard for this country for 40 years to get to this stage. And to me, that's my sound advice to him. And it's not too late. We've got 2 years. He can turn things around. I said before, there should be drastic surgery of the government. He's got to take fantastic action, cut to it. How is it convenient? So at the time that we are saying we are going to IMF, we don't have money to do so many things. We have a budget deficit. Have you not seen gleaming new Land Cruisers that cost 175,000 being used by public officials? Have you not seen that? You've seen that. Is this the time to do such a thing? The president should fire those who undertook that procurement. Not at this time. Say, yes, Ghana for say near my ding. We are tightening our belt. We have to lead by example.
The president said why yet because we're cutting down expenditure.
Well, it's not reflecting in the results. What we have now is that the city is in a tailspin. And Kobanisa, right now, the information that I do, I mean, I'm sure the managers of the economy, they know it. That in times past, very recently, about 40% of our securities was owned by foreign investors.
Yeah.
Now it's down to about 11, 12%. There's a run on our money. And the central bank had indicated to them and assured them, say, they'll give them the dollars if they want to take it away.
Okay.
And so we have to regulate things. When we are in serious times, we have to put ourselves on a war footing. They say, no, and so therefore things cannot be normal. And that's why I want to speak through this medium to my big brother, our great friend, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to save ourselves, save our party by taking the decisions that are necessary to ensure, so at least those who are responsible for bringing us this far.
I've heard your sound.
So we had so many things said there. He said that some people who do not have the country at heart are in government and they are damaging the brand of the MPP. He said something like that, we need to do a surgery of the administration. In other words, remove some people. And it looks like he's pointing his hand at Oforiatta in this particular presentation. Do you agree with that? And do you necessarily think that the president should do something about, especially the people who have taken the economy to where it is today? Let's welcome also my big brother, Efa Amayao, the Deputy Communications Director of MPP, who just joined us. Efa, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Afro. And good to be here.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Lifetime legacy is now my brother. Here we look like enemies. Man, having known him, having met him, he's such a great guy. It's just unfortunately he's on the other side, but how would you feel?
They are equally great guys on both sides. So
lifetime, good to see you. Good to see you. We have to behind the scenes.
Okay, Lifetime. I think if you can take your camera up a little bit because your head is cut into half. Thank you. That's perfect. Now, yes. So Lifetime, you heard Commander Japan made some very dumbing allegations here about people who doesn't have the country at heart in government. He's calling for an open heart surgery of the members of the current administration. He's asking that we change things up. The president shakes things up a little bit. What do you think about what you just heard him say?
Alfred, thank you for the opportunity once again to be here. And I would like to use the medium to greet our viewers and listeners. And also to take the opportunity also to express my love for my brothers on the platform. I was privileged to meet my brother Efa in Chicago. He's a wonderful guy, and the friendship we have developed, it should go beyond politics. I know there is a possibility that myself, my brother Efa, and my brother Kojo, one day it won't be coincident that maybe we'll find ourselves running the country in the future. I mean, who knows? So regardless of they belong to the MPP now, I still have the hope that one day my brother Efa and my brother Kojo will one day join me so that we run the country. What I mean is that they will one day come to join the NDC. Anyway, Alfred, let me go to the question you have put on board. And I'll be very glad if you allow me to make most of my points before you ask some questions or interject. The first video you play you issue disclaimer of your disagreement with the guy's comment. I, as a political animal, would disagree with you. I would disagree with you in the sense that this is an ordinary Ghanaian who level of education, from the way the video was captured, you could say that it's an ordinary Ghanaian who probably did not get a chance to pursue a higher education. So if an ordinary Ghanaian could witness or see or make such an observation, we cannot entirely rule it out that it is not a reflection of the reality. So in as much as I won't like to go or repeat what he said, I just want to draw your attention to it that it is the reflection of the reality. And he's not the only person who have made that observation, but a lot of Ghanaians have made that observation. My brother Ifa, my brother Kojo, if they are to be on the fence, they also probably would have also made the same observation. So we cannot dismiss it entirely. Now, Alfred, the question I also like to ask in addressing the main issue is that what would have been the discussion if Mahama were to be the president and his brother or any of his relations were to be transaction advisors to the country? What would have been the discussion? I'll go ahead and ask again. We were in the country when Mahama's brother, Ibrahim Mahama, decided that the nation is engulfed with fear. He will provide a labor so that they desilt the heart of the city for free. What was said about the current regime? So go ahead and ask a question. A bauxite mine at Enyinahini, I am told that Ibrahim Mahama have a family background from Enyinahini, and the chief and the people of Enyinahini in Ashanti region decided that they will give or allow that concession to go to their son. What was the comment made by our people in Ahem of Affair today? Could the story as we are creating it today be the same? You see, my brother Kwejo, he's a fine gentleman, and I know if it's not for politics, there is no way he will defend this. From the way, I haven't met him personally, but the way he go about issues, I am strongly convinced that if my brother Kwejo have no a duty bound to defend his party, he would have seen something wrong with this. Right. But unfortunately, he belongs to executive position of his party, and he's duty bound to defend the indefensible. I'll pardon him for this. And I expect my brother Ifa not to go that again. My brother will call a spade, not a big spoon.
Right.
After Togbi Afede, EcoBank and some institutions were, including Furiata Data Bank, were the partners of the economy during Mahama era. And as soon as there was a change of government, that committee was reconstituted. And Togbi Afede, who happens to be a Votarian, was taken out. And a new one was brought in, which have no experience. I mean, Dubois, what do you call it? Black Africa, was something. Right. Was formed in 2017 and was brought on board. This is an institution that has no track record or background of transaction advising.
But Dubois himself actually happens to have worked as an investment banker in Wall Street for years. So it's not like there's a lack of skills there.
We are talking about his institution.
Right.
Track record of his institution. Could he, why wasn't he solicited during the previous administrations? You see, the Bible, we are all Christians on this platform. The Bible makes it very clear that even as much as we have the right or the moral to do all things, it is not everything that is lawful. Alfred, if Nanado is not a beneficiary of what Oforiata and Edubahini is getting at the end of the day, Nanado that we all knew and what we all perceive him to stand for would have fired his brother and what do you call it, Edubahini. But because he's a beneficiary, he is silent for this rot to continue. Alfred, Oforiata, before coming into government, was a successful businessman. For me, a good name is better than riches. And I would have expected a person of his caliber who have been successful on his field as a businessman wouldn't have done some of these things to bring his name and his rich experience as far as investment is concerned into disrepute. Okay, but here is a situation. Because of this, we are all calling him all manner of name, which is lawful. You get it? So for me, it is unethical, it's immoral, and it's unbelievable. The way and the impunity the current regime, Akufo-Addo and his family, are going about it, to me, it looks like Ghana is owing them a certain amount of money that we are refusing to pay. And by virtue of they ascending to power, they have to take that money, regardless of whatever the cost is. At all means, they have to make that money before they leave power. And there's no way I would disagree with entirely what KKD have said.
Right.
It looks like gradually people who we expect for them to talk are talking. It is because the thing have worsened them. Their throat is choked. There is no way they could keep quiet anymore because they are also being affected. I agree with Kobla Japan. Now it's like Kobla Japan is speaking on a basis where it's like, now if we want to be truthful to ourselves, regardless of our political affiliation, MPP that used to be attractive party is unattractive anymore to the youth, to the ordinary Ghanaian, and even to the people who voted them into power. Now, most of it's like, sorry, I have to say this, but when you look at it, the kind of where the comments are coming from, it's like the Ashantis and Achims are battling for the souls of the party MPP.
Right.
Not quite long, we heard what Mark Asesibe said. Not quite long, we also heard what do you call it? The one who was supposed to, who was a promised finance minister before it was given to Akoto Osei. We heard what he said, and now we heard what Kobla Japan is saying. So it's like I said, unhealthy wise, the Ashantis and Achims are battling for the soul of the MPP. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for those contributions. I would like to bring you into this conversation, but let's also listen to a second video from Kobla Japan again, seriously chastising the government. We'll continue the conversation after this video. We'll be back.
Inflation is over 32%. You know, so we are in dangerous territory. And so therefore, the only major thing that the president can do to arrest the situation is to clear out the managers of the economy. And it's a fact. I mean, that is what is left for him to do, because you can't let the same people who have driven us to this stage remain in office.
The president,
nobody is looking for Kenufurata's job.
All right, so you heard him there. He's alluding to the fact that inflation is almost 32%. That the only way that the president can really do anything about this is to clear the people who were in the helm of affairs as the economy goes through these difficult times. Change the scene a little bit. Bring other people to see if maybe new ideas might spread some development in the economy, and perhaps lessen the inflationary pressures that we are currently undergoing. Efa, do you agree with your former secretary of the party, Mr. Kobina Japan, as to whether people should be moved on? He actually even says that he is not interested in the job or anything. He doesn't want Ken Oforiatta's job. He just wants, newer, fresher ideas to take over and see if they can do things better. Do you agree or disagree with him?
Yeah, I agree with him on some of the issues, and I disagree with him on some other stuff. So on the issue of like bring fresh ideas and let's try new stuff. Yes, I mean, in times of crisis, we cannot be doing normal stuff. And to that extent, yes, I agree with him. There is the need for certain action that should depict emergency and under the current circumstances, certain things cannot be normal. But you see, when we sit here, we cannot say that nothing is being done under the circumstances. Government is not just one piece. It's not just only the presidency. It's also, parliament. Government is also the institutions, the various institutions that we have, and stuff like that. For instance, when you are talking about inflation and interest rate is not just something that happens all of a sudden. It's as a result of things that we should have done that we haven't done, and that continues to kick us, and it's gonna kick us. I mean, I have stopped talking about interest rate until I see certain things, and I keep telling people, maybe I've not made this comment here. I keep telling people that from where I sit and my little knowledge, I'm not a finance guy, but you go to the market and those market people know the economics, and they know how prices and things are moving, and they're going to adjust themselves in a certain way. Right. So you see, there are certain determinants, and when those determinants are not there, you're going to see this pressure on the city. And for me, there will be a continuous trend. Maybe it will come down a little bit, and then we all keep quiet and we go down. But the major thing that we should do, which is too much, we rely too much on foreign stuff. Okay, you don't go there and buy with the city. We do this, and the rate at which our taste has gone to, you see, there has to be that consciousness.
Well, but people say it's because we don't make quality things in our country, so they want the quality from overseas.
No, that's not true.
We've been doing 1D1F. If we had supported the companies to improve their quality, perhaps people might switch to Ghanaian-made products. Well, people really go for overseas products because we don't have quality products locally made in our country.
That's not true. So we also cannot say that some of the locally manufactured things are of that high quality that compete with foreign stuff. But me and you know that some of these things that come that have been branded quality are not even things that are even good for our consumption. You see, the truth of the matter is most of these things are also controlled by sponsors of political parties. So when they come, you may have all the policies and you want to do. So some things are very slow. It's like virtually non-existent. It's not that the government don't want to do it. If you check the consistency, the slowness of us taking, they come and they will tell you, oh, Ghana, we import rice alone. It's between $300 to $600 million a year. Rice, only rice.
That's because we don't make quality local rice.
Meanwhile, how far with Abraham? How far with other stuff? And it's not only Abraham was a government something. Now, if you check the individual rice farmers in various parts of the country, we could have given them the support and then, give them the quota. Now, even if you are not going to deal with the private stuff, how about the ones that is directly linked with government, like the schools and stuff like that, government agencies, and, we know what to do. But the truth of the matter is, you see, the policy is against people who sponsor people to come into power. So when they come, they're not going to do it. Okay? So what we've been hearing is, what it takes to fix it, which we hear in opposition, but when it come to government, you see a little bit of it, but it's very slow. Like for instance, 1D, 1F. Now, some of these 1D, 1F too, they don't really have the capacity to give us what we need locally. And to also go to the extent of, really penetrating the Ghanaian market, they need time. These people have been there they already have the links. They already have the structures. To break through them, it takes time. So maybe we should push harder. Maybe government should bring out some other things. What is happening at buffer stock?
Right.
How do we link our secondary schools to the various farming places so that we can have the stocks here and then we can give them to the various schools? If the schools alone are consuming made in Ghana schools, we will be making headway, and then we bring in some adjustments to be able to get to that level. So I sit here and I don't see that link. Else, come and tell me that okay, so from 2017, 2016 up to date, there is a continuous downtrend of rice import because maybe the locals are taking over, government has been able to make a shift. But I sit here and I've been told that in Brazil alone, kote kote. It sounds like a distance, but kote kote there, the namanama, the intestines and stuff like that. Brazil alone, we import about 6 million of it. Not to talk about.
Oh my God, I think we lost FI when he was actually getting juicy. FI, if you can hear me, your sound, I think your thing is frozen. So check your internet and come back and tell us about the intestines. We're happy to hear that. Okay, so while we're waiting for FI, let me take Baomia on this issue again. First of all, before Baomia comes in, let's go back to my favorite guy and see what he has to say.
Bonio, Nana, we are champion. To Adolfo Nyum there. Hallelujah was sorrow. Missy Nanado was sorrow. Na Bibi was sorrow. Hey, Nanado was sorrow. Missy Anija Benamenya, Nanado Anije. Auto Benamenya, Nanado Auto. Angodi was sorrow, Nanado, Nanado, you are champion. Who, Obia Timu, Umresu, say $1 no for $1. No for Concori, Coco Nawaya, Coco Nawaya, Coco, is in Nana Nawaya, Nana Nawaya, Coco, Anana, Oluma, what Bomodin Pa. Una udada Ghana for na yetu abama we are champion but me blame no bi me blame obi me blame asantifo say na mo ye tribalism ade na enye omusi eye ade na enye omusi eye ene ufa $1 enu nie ufa $1 na wafai 10 cedi ufa $1 na wafai 10 cedi ufa $1 na wafai 10 cedi na we are champion.
Ghana cedi is currently in free fall and depreciating virtually on a daily basis. In fact, this is what you are seeing as a Midonyami exchange rate because it is going all the way.
All right. Thanks so much for sticking with us. I think I have Kakape back. Kakape, can you hear me? If you can hear me, take it over.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know my internet. I have one of the. I have from T-Mobile. I need to call them. Recently, it's been giving me troubles. I don't know if
you don't want
Paul
me to get Paul D'Souza's
I don't know if Paul. I know what Paul can do. So. Yeah, so on a more serious note.
So you said you're importing intestines. I want to hear
intestines. To test
you're my dear.
Yeah, my dear. Yeah, I mean papa. When we went to Germany, we were tasting these things. You see, there has to be that aggressive way to tackle these things. Other than that, we will talk and talk and talk and talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna. if what we talk we cannot practice them, then we are not going to be there. I know that government is doing this 1D 1F. Okay, so 1D 1F, you go in and you do this, but we are not really going to see the impact. Like it doesn't. You see, it is not in a situation to just absorb it like that.
Right.
And the economy is big. Now, if government does not put in some level of speed and aggressiveness into it, it's really going to be very slow, and I am afraid we are not going to see the impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, so now that we as a government are using Ukraine as what is impacting, now what is the long-term measure so that next time if it is Israel, okay, or next time if it is Ethiopia, okay, how are we going to locally do that? Now, this brings our attention to
in China.
This brings no, if it's China, we are dead. Now, this brings attention to. In recent time, you see bumper harvest that is going. That has been there for a very long while. Okay, so maybe we've been able to take care of the cocoa industry so they have stable prices. But can we move into the cashew where I am? Okay,
it's unfortunate when you say this because I just came back from Ghana. When I travel across, I still see people using hoe and cutlasses to weed. I mean, can you imagine we're in 2022 and our farmers are still relying on the same thing they were using 100 years ago, hoe.
Even with that, they are able to give us the products, and then the products go. Some of them are not able to be transported.
Right.
Like right now, if you go to Bono East, the mangoes that now the price went as low as 6,000 for something that is now 17,000. That is a clear load of mangoes. Look at the price difference. So there has to be that aggression. What I see that government does sometimes is that we focus on a particular area. There's a bumper harvest over there. Then we go to sleep and follow. No. There has to be that consistency over time. And we have done well, even though we still have challenges in the area of cocoa. We've done well, but we have to move quickly into other aspects. As for the mechanization, if we mechanize it, you are bringing trouble. We have to. But if you mechanize it and if you do all these things, like for instance, they brought these seeds that give you higher yield. But then after the higher yield, what else? When they harvest it, either it goes very, very low.
Saying that the programs are not comprehensive enough.
Exactly.
Or we just think about bringing fertilizer to the people. Once we give them the fertilizer, we throw our hands in the air and then we brand it.
It is really not comprehensive enough.
Right.
And so the concentration is mainly on, that Omunya BB, they should do something like, the farmers, especially the subsistence ones, and because the commercial farmers know what to do. I know what to do. I can decide not to sell my products for a certain period of time.
Right.
Okay, until I get prices. But the others, they can't. They need the money quick and go on that.
Let me redirect you to the question, though. The Minister of Finance seemed to be compromised, especially with him having his companies advising the system we go for a loan, and it's gotten us into trouble. Look at our inflation. Yeah.
I beg you, before you ask that question, is that something I could add to what Kakape said, if you allow me?
Okay, yeah, quickly, do that quickly, and then we'll go.
All right. You know what, Kakape, again, my brother, how are you?
I'm doing great, boss.
Thank you. What he said, you are my boss, so but director of communication, not radio, so you are my boss. So this is what I just wanted to add to what my brother Kakape said. You see all the things that he laid out.
Right.
He's perfectly right. Why is it that even after 100 and almost 108 1D, 1F that are now in operation, why are we still talking about industrialization? The only reason that we're having this is that the political elite that is in IE, both NPP and we are the cause of our own development. Because at the end of the day, if NDC is in power and they're doing something that we as the Ghanaians supposed to be praising the president, whoever is in government, like like the 1D1, oh yes, it's going on. Then we have some criticism. We have people in both sides when the equation changes, saying, oh, they are not doing nothing. How are you going to sell this to the Ghanaian people when people should go find a job or even attracting investment when our own are destroying ourselves? So for some time, like my brother Lifetime Legacy said, sometimes we as Ghanaians, irrespective of your government, which government is in power, things that are good, which are developmental progress to our country, we should support it. There's always going to be a difference in opinion, a difference of political parties. But at the end of the day, there's one common good, and that is if there's this all development are going on, our trade balance, everything is going to go down. Exchange rate is going to go. We are not going to import all so many things to chasing a few dollars, have so many cities chasing a few dollars. It will become as a political war for both parties. Yes, we might disagree on the way as to how we do it, but then the day once one party is able to do something, we should encourage it and ask people to patronize it.
I mean, so you have
Right.
Parliament approving the bills for you to undertake, whatever.
I don't want to be political here.
No. I'm saying, I'm just trying to say that the support is there, right? I mean, you getting the support because look at it. When you made your priority program to be planting for food and jobs, Parliament approved it, right? That's where you need approval to occur. Parliament went ahead and approved that for you. But again, the programs are not comprehensive enough. When you say planting for food and jobs, and all you did was give fertilizers to the farmers, of course, and perhaps high yield, whatever seeds, yes, they are going to produce a lot. But that program should also have contemplated transportation of those products to the market or the supply chain issues that should occur. And if we do that well, then we shouldn't even complain that we have taste for foreign goods, because we would have been exporting some of our products to countries that may need them. For instance, the mangoes wouldn't be going bad, right? The mangoes would have made it to Europe or to other places where we can have good prices for them. We can get even,
Very good. You see, Amuzu, what you said, I agree with you 90% of what you said. But the only thing that I want to add to it is that, yes, Parliament has approved whatever programs that we have. And it's true. It's not comprehensive enough. Mostly these things that done in quote unquote winning power, right? We are not just planning in the next 20, 30 years. But after Parliament have approved this, it doesn't end there. You see, there should be something like when 2017 to 19, when the foodstuff were all over the place. Still, people were saying that people who were in opposition are saying, oh, there's nothing going on, right?
I mean, opposition is going to say what opposition is going to say. I don't know. What kind of support are you saying? Are you saying that opposition should not criticize and that to you is support that is required for these programs to work?
No. This is where I wanted to learn. I said I'm not being politics here, right? So after you've given the money to do the job, it's your responsibility as government. And I'm not talking about government being MPP, because
the parliamentarian, correct?
Yeah, MPP is also in government because they have members of parliament. You should promote what you have approved and used Ghana money for. In terms of the programs, if you have a disagreement, you have the right to do that. But you don't approve for something and then at the same person run the thing down like, oh, it's not working. When there's that, you're supposed to give an advice because it's our own money. We are all going to pay.
I'm not following you. I mean, if the thing is not working, what are you supposed to say?
No, but you're not listening to me. I'm saying that they have the right to do. But after, for instance, like I asked you, there's abundance of rice at the moment, right? That we have. We are chasing the foreign one.
That's not the understanding, though. The understanding is we are actually importing more rice than
let me phrase it this
we are producing. So there's not abundance of rice. That's not accurate.
I'm not talking about importation of rice. Yes, we are importing more. That's all. But what I'm saying, our local rice is in abundance now in warehouses where people are not buying it. Why? Is because the government is not
I
supporting.
don't think that is the issue, though.
Oh,
The
yes.
issue is we are consuming our local rice to the point where we are even importing more. It's not like the local rice is there rotting. The local rice is running. You make
Yes,
people buy it.
no, because it's not just you going to the farm and bring. You have to, like we do the foreign ones they bring. They have to have the mechanism in terms of what do you call it? What's the name for it? To be able to mail it out nicely to come into the market. We can support to feed the entire Ghanaian with the Ghana local rice. But as we speak, there are a lot of Ghanaian local rice which are in warehouses which nobody's buying because people don't like that one. And that's what I'm talking about. In terms of the government not putting much effort in helping these things to come out the market, though, or for us to be able to feed ourselves more than what we are importing, we are not putting money in there. There are very few places where you go for mailing, and then most of them is stuck in the north and then in the Volta where they don't have the way of processing it. And that is the problem. And then the marketing of it, like we all do, we want perfume rice. Meanwhile, our Ghanaian rice is the best, even though we cannot produce to feed all of ourselves. It is something that is a collective thing, though, irrespective of who is in government. And I'm talking about not being politics, to have for certain things to be done, and then whatever we disagree on, we can also still do politics. But we have
All
to.
right. I hear what you're saying, but I still don't think that there is a help required there. I mean, when you put a program out and it's not comprehensively thought about, I think it should be spoken about. And the opposition should be able to do that. But let's not. I mean, that is, I think, a topic for a different day discussion that we can have.
Let me also add my voice to.
I don't want us to do the farm thing so much. I mean, we really want to make sure we get rid of the Minister of Finance. That's what we get.
Just a brief, about a minute comment on what my two brothers have said. You see, if I hadn't come to US, I wouldn't have seen how they take farming seriously here.
Right.
I was in the class with one white guy, and it's like, as soon as he's closed from class, he's going to his farm. You see, if we are to treat farming as a lucrative job, the orientation of some of these things will automatically change. You get it? The policymakers must take a conscious effort to change some of these things. Alfred, I came to US and I bought a pineapple. I couldn't eat the pineapple.
Right. Because it's not sweet. Okay. Yeah, so we can have a family conversation another day, right? But really, there's a piece that I didn't hear you talk about, which is that, I mean, the Minister of Finance is compromised, of course.
My brother, if I want to run away from that issue.
Yeah, and it's been said over and over again by even party members of the MPP that, I mean, there should be some, I mean, every government that's reshuffle, so what is the hesitation on our president? He should at least do an evaluation and decide that if somebody is somewhere for so long and nothing is moving, that we should move the person on. Do you not agree?
An MPP communicator these days.
Okay, so listen. When the president answered on the issue of reshuffle, he said a couple of things, and we should not put all that into conclusion that he's not going to do a reshuffle. There was a statement that he made is that if I'm going to do a reshuffle, it's not a public thing. I will, I'll do my internal listing and then I'll work on it and I'll let you know. But he also added that he gets evaluation of all the ministries. And, there is that push. But according to him and the way, the evaluations are coming in, he see that they are doing a fantastic job.
But I think he's the only one seeing that. Nobody else is. We are also in Ghana with the president, or at least we go to Ghana, we are abreast with what is going on. And, like everybody else is aware, things are not going on well. The inflation is through the roof. The city is
so things happening. things
You know?
happening right now has nothing to do with whatever, with any personality, with a particular person. Now, let me give you a typical example, right? In the UK, the prime minister is removed, right, for non-performance. Okay, has that changed anything?
Well, I'm saying,
Has that changed anything? That did not change anything. That won't change anything.
We are talking
Because
about
whoever is coming in, all that is happening, it just gives you some glimmer of hope that, oh, they have changed somebody. So, if this was the devil, let's assume this is an angel that is going to bring some magic. And we only hope that the magic will really appear. So technically speaking, that really doesn't come in. You see, me, what I feel is that there has to be certain decision taking. If people feel that part of that decision is reshuffle and the president want to consider that, that's fine. That is people's opinion. Right. I feel that some of the ministries ought to go. We have to merge some of them. We have to dispose of some of them. Okay? Just dispose them of, not move this person here and take that person there. That I mean, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. But I can give you some ministries. I don't know why, and that is also affecting us.
You're talking about someone being compromised, to where there are all issues of conflict of interest. Of course, the president is the one charged with the public purse. If there is issue of conflict of interest, we expect the executive to exercise his powers and address that. So we are saying that.
Yeah, I get all that with all that you explained. Now, you see, whatever transaction advisors and all that, it is not like he became a transaction advisor to government issues just when we came to power. No, that's not true, right? You know that, right?
That again? Oh, they've been doing that before. They've been doing that before.
So they have the track record. It just happened that but he's not even part of the. Is he still part of the company?
I mean, according to him, he placed it in a trust. But we are saying that, hear me out. We are saying that when he, got elevated to that position,
okay,
it automatically create a conflict of interest situation.
Okay.
For the company that he owes. He does that. That is.
But conflict of interest,
in serious countries.
Alfred, conflict of interest in a real case is a matter of fact, not a matter of assumption.
Yeah, it's a matter of fact. This is a matter of fact.
So if there is a matter of fact of a conflict of interest, did that come up? Did that come up when he was being vetted for the second office?
He did.
Well, for the second office, and what was the conclusion of the people?
Well, you
heard me. The conclusion of the people.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I am an accountant, right?
Right.
In my practice, even if you're a partner, right, who has a share in a company that's, let's say, the accounting firm is hired to audit, you are asked to sell your shares immediately. I've been asked to sell Tesla where I have shares because my company has some, dealing with Tesla. My investments were flagged and I have to sell them by force. I'm not Minister of Finance, so I don't have any influence. I'm not even going to be working on Tesla's audits, but I have to sell my shares. That is what serious organizations and serious institutions do, because me, who doesn't even have anything to do on that audit, has exposure. Here we are talking about the Minister of Finance, who he may drop his investment into trust or whatever he claims he is done with it. He cannot be the one making the decision as to going to get a loan and using the same company. That is gross conflict of interest in this particular situation compared to my situation where I didn't even have anything to do with the audit. This person is playing a role in the acquisition of this loan, and his company, whether in trust or not, should not be anywhere close to it, period. That is a matter of fact. That is what ethical governance should be about.
Yeah, but I see this as politics, and that is the usual thing we normally play with. See, the way they're raising the issue, they raise the issue to be so serious a thing as that is the reason for whatever. But they've not raised a single thing to impugn him that, okay, so this violates this
No,
and that and that.
you are saying you are looking for evidence of criminality, but conflict of
No,
interest
no,
doesn't
no, no,
have to
no,
materialize
no, no,
into
no, no,
any.
no, no, not criminality. So conflict of interest is different. You may not necessarily be a criminal thing,
Yeah,
but you
it doesn't
know,
have to even.
yeah,
It
it doesn't
doesn't
have
have
to
to
be. But
give
my
it
issue is that
benefits to you. Yeah.
my issue is that, see,
Mhm.
that is why we have checks and balances, because what you see maybe I don't see. You get
Mhm.
what I mean? So it is left with the institutions of state to pick it up and say this and this is what it is. So you know, we do it this way. You decouple this or we do that. Here is when he went to Parliament, right? This had
Mhm.
been coming up since first this thing. Okay. And I was expecting them, they had 2 days. You know, they had this thing for 2 days.
Mhm.
And then after that, you know, he was passed on and they keep hammering. You don't just do this as a question. You do this as a matter of investigation, as a matter of committee to make a decision so that we move on to the next level. But at this point, it has become so much something of a controversial issue. Now, under the circumstances, okay, if I am him, I would have done something about it, though. Okay, but we
Mhm.
don't have that level of practice in our country, and we need to develop that. That's what I'm going to say. But you know,
Okay.
the institutions of state should not just make certain things question or political discussion. You know, let's fix it. Because today it might be this way. Tomorrow it might be a worse scenario. Now, what do? We just talk about it and use it for a political game and leave it out there. What are the institutions of state doing about this? How is Parliament going to take this thing up? But you see, when we do it so political this way, you know, I've grown. Now, coming from I'm going to move into a dark area. Forgive me. My phone is my phone is getting off, so
Yeah,
I'm
if you
trying
can
to
wrap
get it.
up for us, so we move on to the
Yeah.
next one.
So you see, we have been playing too much with this. Now, behind the scene, I have been asking my party why we've not been taking certain actions based on certain allegations we made against Mahama administration. Okay, because there's so much allegations we made, but when we come to power,
I
then
think you
it's
are
our business
switching
as
the
usual.
topic again, but I mean, you've already answered the narrow question of whether the conflict of interest should at least trigger some type of
Yes, yeah, I
action
believe
from
so.
the
Yeah,
presidency.
I believe so. So, in a nutshell, what I will say is that you see, so the officer, the person in place, could be the president, could be the minister, could be a
Right.
CEO, whatever. If that
Mhm.
person is caught in something we all think is a conflict of interest, I don't think it should just be a public discussion.
Right.
Okay.
Well, there are ways to go about these things. Obviously, the way we are
We
going about
need
it.
to take it on. We need
Yeah.
to take it on so that we build institutions other than making it a radio discussion and something that just, you know, used for political benefit and it doesn't end up anywhere, only to be
Okay.
repeated another time.
Okay. Let me give 5 minutes
Thank
just
you.
in case anybody else. Thank you so much. Kojo, I don't know if you want to chime in. Or Legacy, I don't know if you want to chime in and say anything.
Yeah, quick. You see, what we are all saying is at the end of the day, like they have something that I earlier said is, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it means it's something, right?
Right.
We just come out here, do this partisan politics, blackmail a lot of people at the end of the day, and then when government or anything is changed, all we say is a political talk,
But
right?
what is partisan about this, by the way?
No, if you let me alone, maybe you're assuming something, but what I'm saying is, earlier, like my brother a lifetime said, oh, he will pardon me. No, I will be consistent when there's a change. For instance, if anybody accuse the former president brother, because I know him way days ago, I always defend him because he's a businessman, right? I will never change my mind, even what I'm speaking to you is life. The reason is there are certain things that we ought to know if we have to take politics out of it. Those are the things that is really hampering our development and we having quality people coming to office and serving the country because of said things. Does it look like that? Yes, like my brother said, I've already condemned. I say, yes, one, perception in politics is a very big thing. I don't like the way things are going, but it doesn't mean somebody's doing something wrong.
All right. Thank you so much. Lifetime, do you want
to
chime in quickly and then we move on? Yes.
Yeah, like I said earlier on, if there is a time that is difficult to be a communicator for NPP, this is the
I hear you.
I said, my brother Kwejo and Ifa, if they should not be affiliated to any of the political institutions in Ghana, and on a fair day, you ask them of their opinion of this thing, they will tell you point blank that this is a wrongdoing.
Right.
But I can, like I said, my brother don't want me to use the word I have pardoned him, but that is a reality.
Right.
That is reality. And the earlier, the better we call a spade, the better for us. Because, like KKD asked in the question, at the end of the day, whatever thievery, whatever stealing, whatever looting is going on, how long will Oforiatta continue to be in office? And how long will he continue to be alive? How long will Nana Addo continue to be in office? And how long will he continue to be alive? At the end of the day, their generations, their descendants, like KKD asks, Omba the catcher say, hey, I'm Bobra. Now, so here is the situation. Myself, Kwejo, and my brother Ifa, look at how we get up in the morning, walk through this snow, work very hard.
Right.
At the end of the day, we send letter back home, and some people will just sit down in office, use their mind to loot.
Okay. That's a strong one, but we'll take it. Okay, so let's take a quick break. When we turn around, we want to talk about marijuana politics.
Ghana cedi is currently in free fall and depreciating virtually on a daily basis. In fact, this is what you are seeing as a Midonyami exchange rate, because it is going all the way.
Nado danko akufo bonio nana we a champion to adofo nyom de de hallelujah was soro me say nana do was sora na bibi was sora hey nana do was soro ni si ani je be na menya nana do ani je auto be na menya nana do auto I'm going was sorrow. Na dore. Na do ya champion. Who obi atimi hu. Umresu se say $1 no fa $1. Na wa fa. Konkori wa ye. Koko na wa ye. Ogo. Izina na wa ye. Na wa ye. Na wa ye. Koko. Na. Oluma wa bomodin pa. Una udada Ghana for na yetu abama who ya champion but me blame no bi me blame obi o me blame asantifo say na mo ya tribalism ade na enye omusi eye ade na enye omusi eye ene ufa $1 enu nie ufa $1 na wafai 10 cedi ufa $1 na wafai 10 cedi ufa $1 na wafai 10 cedi na we ya champion.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show again. My name is Alfred Amuzu. Thanks for sticking with us. Today has been interesting. We've been talking to Kojo DC, who speaks for the MPP. We are also had a chat with our own good friend, not Podis also, but Lifetime Legacies, helping us navigate some of the issues here. Now we are switching attention. We just finished talking about whether or not the Minister of Finance and his deputy should resign. Now we want to talk about marijuana. So this came out of an article I was reading over the week, which talks about Ghana legalizes cannabis for health and industrial issues. So basically, I'm not sure if that means you can then smoke it for free, but we can grow marijuana in Ghana now. And it's interesting. We've just been talking about agriculture and how we should be able to use what we have, the resources we have to produce or program a comprehensive sort of agenda for how not only do we, grow things like marijuana, but also export it to other countries so that we are not growing too much of it and it sticks in the system and it's not consumed. The understanding is that some of the mangoes, the yams, the rice, and things that we've been producing, they get rotten. I've also heard, or in the same article, read a portion where the Institute of Psychologists in Ghana felt this was not a good thing because of the likely impact this will have for people as far as mental health is concerned. So it's a very interesting observation there. That everyone who is concerned is sharing that perhaps this may not be a good time to introduce this law or approve this law at this time. But that is the case. So marijuana is legal. You can produce it in Ghana now. Of course, it's going to bring some revenue, especially if we are exporting it. We know of its use in so many science literature. Even in the United States here, we are aware that doctors are prescribing it for some chronic patients with chronic pain, and they seem to, approve of its efficacy compared to other pain relievers. So I'll be interested in hearing what my guests have to say about this new development. So let me start with Kojo DC. Kojo DC, are you still with us? Kojo DC?
Yes, I'm still with you.
Awesome. So marijuana is legal now in Ghana. You can produce it. You can, and it's to be used for industry. It's no longer criminalized.
Okay. Amuzu, let me bring in some. I just want to make a few corrections here. So after the law was passed, it was for industrial and pharmaceutical usage. Okay.
Yeah.
In Ghana, but there was a recent. Somebody took it to the Supreme Court and it was struck down as unconstitutional. So as we speak, that law that was passed has been declared unconstitutional with a very slim margin.
So the Narcotics Control Commission bill is unconstitutional. That's what you're saying.
Yes. It's been rendered as such. So until because they said the processes and this thing they didn't follow some. So I want to just throw in that information out there. Okay. And then even before that, right? When they passed that law, you needed license. I have been following that for a very long time. In fact, we have a group because I have my 10 acre there ready to do my cultivation of that thing because there is money in it. I don't smoke it. I don't like smoke. you know, but it's, I mean, I'm a businessman, so I've been following it and stuff like that. And the guys are just the ganja, they call them the hemp association in Ghana. They are so mad that government is putting a lot of blocks in there. Recently, about 800 hectares was seized by the government, but this is going to even go into individual. They're not going to ban them.
Right.
If we are in a country where cocaine can turn into coconte, who told you that they're going to ban that weed? They won't ban it. We all know. You know,
so
I just want to.
You hear that when you go to the police, where the police will
I just want to chip this information in there so that we take it, we consider it in the course of our discussion. I didn't mean to interrupt you because you are always the boss, and I respect that.
Oh no! That's a great intervention, because I was under the impression that the law is now the law of the land. But thanks for that correction. I just quickly Googled it too, and I can affirm what you just said. So thank you for that necessary interjection. So so now I guess the question should be: should we legalize marijuana? Because this is, to me, it's past this time. It's overdue, right? Because we have a very arable land. And we know the benefits that can come out of that, especially in times like this where we are having issues with our fiscal deficits. We need balanced budget supports every time. We have to go to the IMF. There is this gold that we can actually benefit from. Why are we still fighting it? I mean, what would have been good reasons for which Supreme Court to think this is an illegal bill to pass in our country? Let me start with Kojo DC on that one.
All right. Thank you, Amazu, again, and thank you for listeners and viewers at the same time. So it's so funny, right? So if you look at all the what you said, I agree with you in terms of being legalized in terms of health and what industrial purposes. For recreational, that would be in a different level as to how I know here in the state, over 36 states have legalized it. Most of them are with the recreational side of it.
Right.
Beside that, when you posted, I'm always driving, so I can't test like you guys will test, right? So when you posted about we having a discussion about ganja, I was like, let me just go and read about, because I was on your own station, me and a certain gentleman advocating for it. But if you look at the views of others, it's more or less some kind of a belief thing. It's like some even associated with Satan, some tower, you understand. And then they are not even looking at the benefits of it in terms of, and then the benefit of what we call the money aspect of it, as well as the market.
So they are looking at the medical benefits and the financial benefit. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Even the audio looking at is like or no, you understand. And then Bible, it says there's something wrong. If you listen to most and people are well educated, right, and they ought to know in terms of the scientific side of it. So I went through it. You're talking about multiple sclerosis. It's 78% efficacy when the people use them. You're talking about asthma, which is about 78 to 80%. And this is a study done by University of Florida, University of Kentucky, University of California, Los Angeles. They are studying it.
Yeah, there's so many studies abound, with regards to this issue. Just also studies against it. So,
I read the article, and then it gives you the pros and cons. Any other thing that we have in this earth, anything that you overdo it, there's some kind of bad thing you say, and in quote in the handwriting, right? There's always going to be something that is going to be wrong. What we have to do, if you look, I read through those, I tried like 4 articles. All what is hampering it in terms of research, even though there's some research done on them, but they are very few, right? because of the laws, for instance, in the United States, because of the law, federal law, they are not able to do much of a research over it unless the law is changed, right? So even if we can have, for instance, pain, we have asthma, we have other things that is, I've seen some of them documentaries based on seizure for kids, certain things that they give to them, and the seizures don't even appears anymore, right? So they are benefit, and there are some on benefit as well. What we have to do is we have to give it a chance in terms of doing the research about it. But in my country, I will wish we will go ahead. First of all, the financial side of it, because people are talking about, oh, we have cocoa, we have timber, we have diamond, we have oil, and all of those money. Now you want to go bring weed, and that comes down with another mindset of quote unquote, I put it in religious mindset. Like it's not something that is good. But we all know that God said He created everything. So why do we associate certain help to Sam? You understand? So for me, I am for it. The business aspect of it, and then the research aspect of it, letting people know. Instead of people taking opioid and getting addicted and killed on themselves, if somebody will smoke a blunt and will be, and you're talking about another efficacy to that have cancer, right? So if we can have such benefit, I'm talking about health and industrial, because some of these chemicals and then what do you call materials that we use, some are made with weed, right? So they are benefit of it. So why don't we just sit down as a country? Like I said this, now you go to Costco, they have Cacho toothpaste or a charcoal toothpaste, and they are selling it for $15 for you.
Yeah.
When we were kids, they give it to us to brush our teeth, and the brony came and said, no, 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 it's not good. Now they are selling it for us. So we shouldn't sit down when we have the good stuff. And I've learned Ghana one is the best in the world. If we have it, the people don't go to Jamaica because Jamaica is as beautiful. They go there for something, right? So if Ghana can also have that good stuff, and people will come in terms
So
of,
are you saying the Ghana weed is the best? I'm not
yes,
aware of that one. Oh, really?
yes. You know, our soil is good, though.
Yeah,
Everything is good.
it is.
It is. So everything, cocoa is good. Everything is good in there, right?
So
So,
this is what the presidency should be. This is what they should be advertising more, right?
so you see,
So
yeah,
how is it that we have the best land for marijuana cultivation, but the Supreme Court thinks it should be illegal to have such a?
Yeah,
I'm
there's a
not a
reason.
lawyer,
There's a
right?
reason for that.
That I'm not a lawyer, but from what I think the Supreme Court struck down was that this is in controversy with the Ghana Constitution, right? So that is where they have to go ahead and go to Parliament and make sure that side of the Constitution is amended so they can be legal. So I think it was just, if you
There's
listen to
something in the Constitution about legalization of marijuana.
no legal weed, marijuana is illegal, so it's in the Constitution.
It's in the Constitution.
Yes. That was
Really?
what. Yes, that's what the if you want, once we are talking, go ahead and read the entire article. I'm not even specific with it, but when you read it, you see the Supreme Court only based the argument on some part of the Constitution. That is why it's making it null and void, right? So that is the reason. But for me, I am for it. I wish we will not sit down again when then Obroni will come and tell us, oh yeah, then we'll start following. By then the price will be down. Now if we can make the money.
It's interesting that we debate gay marriage and all this. We getting the right for gays, but at the same time, we will
They are all in
from
different categories.
marijuana.
It's mute because of what the perceptions of it, right? I understand. But I was telling a friend on your radio station, I told the gentleman, I said, if we have to go out right now in Ghana and make a survey and people will tell the truth, I can have almost 50 to 60% of the people doing the thing, right? It doesn't mean we have to just open it up for everybody, but in terms of the beneficial part of it, which is health and industrial purposes and bringing foreign currency, and this will be the only thing that a Ghanaian can hold 100% of, because extracting the THC out of it will be easy. When it comes to gold, they just come and dig and take. We don't get get. When it comes to oil, they come take and go. We only get 10%. Any other thing, we are not having anything. Even the cocoa that we are the best cocoa in the world. Somebody sits in London and give us a price. So
If this thing will be something,
I'm really enjoying your spirited presentation of marijuana.
if it is going to give some benefit, and then whoever goes and take a slip of it, that is there's always going to be what do we call a collateral damage somewhere along the line.
Right. Okay, perfect. Thanks for that presentation on marijuana. If I need somebody to talk on marijuana, I know where to go. All right. So let's go to my big bro, Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime, what do you think? Are you also a fan of Tampi?
Alfred, we were so surprised of the energy my brother Kojo is using today.
It's like his eye lit up.
And only one person came into mind. I watched an interview between Nanaba and the great Amachi Dede. And it's a very interesting interview. And it's the subject, part of the subject was marijuana. And when you look at Nana Amachi Dede enthusiasm of trying to support the idea of legalization, he was pushed further, and what the response was is that I say menko.
All right.
Well, Lifetime, what are you implying?
No. We're not gonna ask that question here. So go ahead.
How people become excited, and when it comes to this discussion, most especially the famous Amati Dede, how he was excited about this discussion. So that is what I'm implying. I'm not implying any negative, but my bro. Anyway, Alfred, to be sincere and fair, I may not be able to speak to this particular issue because when it comes to marijuana and drugs and all, including alcohol, I am so naive as far as those things are concerned. Sometimes I even proud myself that when I'm going to look for a job over here, and it's like, have you done this before? Have you done this before? Have you done this before? And I have to tick the box, no, and all that way. So it's
everybody thinks no, even though
well,
the deal.
Who do you think will say yes or nothing?
In fact, for me, with my no, it is truly sincere no.
Right.
Growing up, I wasn't exposed to that extent. I didn't get opportunity.
You went to girls' school, right?
Oh, I didn't go to girls' school. I went to boys' school. In fact, at the heart of Abosokan. But then, my only thing is
a cracker boy.
And just imagine Ateko and Kateko. Just imagine.
Right.
So it's like I wasn't exposed to things of that sort. So I may not be, my assessment, contribution on it might not be fair. If I am going to speak on it, I may end up disenfranchised people who have.
If I say he has 10 acres waiting.
So I'll end up being unfair to brother businessman because I've come from an arena or a background who will perceive it to be bad or associated with something bad. Most especially when friends that I know who have experience of it, colleagues at workplace who over here, it looks like 99% of African American is something they do. In fact, my workplace, for instance, where I currently work, I can say about 99% does it. And I'm not motivated to even see the benefit if I look at how they even carry themselves and otherwise. So, like I said, be extremely biased to see the good aspect of it because one have not experienced it before. 2, when you look at some people's behavior as a result of the influence.
Consuming it.
Yes, I'll end up being biased. So I
Okay.
want to be fair,
Understood.
but not going deep into it.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much for the
I'll
kind.
leave it to my brother, Ifa, the businessman,
All
and
right,
my
let's go to the farmer, the ganja farmer. So,
businessman to do that.
Let me say this just for a laughter right now.
okay.
So, in my secondary school days, and I have a friend, Obodai. He came to school, like Lifetime Legacy is saying, he came to school when we call Krife. You know, this guy, you don't even want to cut his hair, right? So, our second term, I went to a BTV Presbyterian Secondary School, APSEC. So, there's between Abitifi and Nkwetia. So one midterms, we didn't go to the house. We stay on campus or school, and then we took him outside, and then we gave him palm wine to drink. Right after he has drank the palm wine, we came back to school, and he says, "My English name is Alex. Alex, I want to change in price to Nkwetia, and I bring in Nkwetia to price." So I understand where it's coming from. That's just by the way.
Oh wow. Well, thanks for sharing that story. So let's go to the ganja farmer. Kakape.
Yeah,
so
Now you.
yeah, you're the ganja farmer. So
Yeah.
I am equally disappointed in the Supreme Court because I mean sometimes some of the issues that we judgments sometimes there's what we call the economic legalist who believe that judgments should be based on the utility that society can gain from some of those things, especially if there's a constitutional provision against legalizing marijuana. You should look at it from economic standpoint. Judges shouldn't just be stovepiped into some kind of robotic analysis of the law. They should look at several implications, policy implications of their judgment. So I don't see why.
Alfred, let me also disagree with you and my brother Ifa to extent, my brother Kwejo. Should we always look at the economic benefits and probably also go into things that might have a long-term effect in negative on the society because of the economic gain?
Well, so again, they say opinions, right? Everybody has one. So basically, you think it will have a negative effect, but this is something that's currently doctors who perhaps will know a thing or two about negative effect of marijuana. Consumers are prescribing the leaf, the herb, for medical or medicinal use. So as far as whether it becomes a problem to the user, the jury is still out there. But I'm saying that judges, when they are making decisions, have to look beyond just the letter of the law and look at socio-economic impact, policy impact, ramifications, scientific benefits that could come out of their decision, because their decisions usually have a lot of impacts, right? So it kind of makes me feel disappointed in a way that in 2022, a Supreme Court somewhere is striking down a bill that Parliament. So my thing too is, and we could talk about this another time, but it looks like if the legislature, who is also part of the rulemaking, or whose main job is to actually make laws, thought it wise to propose such a legislation and vote on it, Supreme Court should spare them. I mean, because this is the representation of the people. This is what the people want. So it's like a couple of old men sitting somewhere dictating to the whole country on how to run this thing. So I thought that's just my quick commentary on this issue, but
Alfred,
I'll hear from you. Yes, sir.
If they are sitting there making those decisions and they are making the decision for themselves too, just to understand what I want to draw my line at. And then even here in the US, right? since I think it was 2020 when Colorado was the first state that legalized it.
Right.
The crime rate over there is down. And you see, because people are not hiding and buying all these things because it's now plain and
right. Somebody who's
both the
stoned with
side of it.
marijuana doesn't go stealing. But drinkers usually would commit stupid crimes, but high people don't commit crimes that alcohol consumers can commit. So the jury's out there.
Alfred, but when you look at how do you convince someone like me who, let me say, have observed continuously both back home and here? Every person who, one way or the other, is caught to have been involved in a crime, taking a life or robbery, is associated with something like this.
Yeah, no. Let me answer that by saying that in most criminal cases, you realize that the perpetrators are people who have had issues with substance abuse. That is a fact.
Alfred is now doing JDO, so he's now have a grip of the law. So when you ask question and he's answering, he's a mini judge. Get it?
All right, I'll leave it there.
So how do you convince some of us to buy into the idea that who have the notion?
So there's different substances that you can abuse, right? We are saying that in the particular case of marijuana, you don't see somebody who's stoned, like high on marijuana, going to steal, but you see somebody who's like, they have different effects on different people anyway. So basically, I am saying that I don't see a doctor recommending alcohol to anybody, but in this particular
Alfred, tell him that there are people that are not stoned, but with the stroke of a pen, they steal a lot.
Oh,
so how about that one too?
There are people in white, dressed in white robes, quoting the Bible, but with the stroke of a pen. Okay. Anyway, we'll leave it like that.
I don't. My brother Ifa is not referring to Ken Koreata.
No, he's not. He's not.
Look at this guy.
All right, Ifa, let's take it home.
Okay, yeah. So I am going to do a lot of. I wish Dr. Ato is listening. I am going to factor what I learned from him. And after his submission on Echo Radio, Nokwasem, I did some studies, and that has kind of softened my stance on it a little bit. So you see, the number one country that has done a lot of research on marijuana and cannabis and stuff like that is not even America. It is Israel.
Right.
Okay. So the Israelis are involved in the American politics, and they are also involved in Canadian, Australian agricultural stuff. So as we're speaking right now, Canada is Israel. The Israelis are helping the Canadians to come up with the drug. So it has both good and bad stuff. Okay, it has effect on the body when you consume. That is why here, it took them a very long time for them to approve it. And in approving it, it's still at the state level. It's not at the federal level because, when it goes federal, it comes with a lot of responsibility. So they are looking at more studies because, they didn't pay attention to it. They demonized it, and then they realized people like it. Now, if we are here and we look at the American economy, right? The American economics is not about the negatives associated with a particular thing. It is about how people want it. If people want it, if you don't let them do it, they're going to find a way to do it, and that even brings you more challenges. Okay, if America is to do a straight control or take gun out of people,
you could remember prohibition days where they prohibited.
That is even going to be worse. So you do it this way, and they control it in the same way with it. Imagine, let's go to the days when these things were illegal. Look at the number of people that were incarcerated, and that is not even a deterrent. If you study the way human being is, it is not because somebody has gone to murder and that person is killed, so somebody will not murder. Okay? You take it case by case basis and you look at what is happening. What are these things? So what do I do under the circumstances? Now, having said this, the pros and cons, what America has done, what other countries are doing. If you go back home, right, we are always last minute comers.
And in most cases, the time you see that it's legalized over there, it may be why people are still going to come in and control it. We are never first-time customers. We are never independent thinkers and say, so we're going to do this.
Right.
It is really sad. Now, take morality out of it. Bonsam Tawa. This is not Bonsam Tawa. This is Nyame Tawa. It is not Bonsam Tawa. Take it off. Now, I have two friends that are going through chemo right now. Chemo. When you go through it, the pain that you have, right? Marijuana is part of the painkillers that go in. In fact, some go even higher. There are higher drugs for them, for pain killings and stuff like that. Sometimes some of the pain is not paracetamol and ibuprofen.
Oh, no. Percocet and those other ones.
It doesn't work.
People actually get addicted to, yeah.
So I was having this argument with some moralist who says that the negative part is from Bonsam and then the positive type is from God. I said, who told you that when they were putting the tree together, that the devil was here and God was here? They said, you put yours in and I put no. Food. We all know that food, certain consumption of certain food is going to make you sick.
Right.
It's going to make you obese.
Right.
It's going to give you all these kind of stuff. Okay. So there are negatives and positives in anything. But in our part of the world, the problem has been that when we pass it, we're going to have challenges. Even though people are consuming right now that it's illegal. Okay? Now, the challenges are, now the law says industrial and pharmaceutical usage, right?
Yeah.
Purposes. But we all know that it's going to slip into consumption.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot. Because then there will be consumption and stuff like that. Because
it's illegal now, but it's consumed every day. So
exactly. Now, people are also pushing it back at home because you see our institutions are not that effective. Here, the institution is effective. They know what the consumption rates are. They know what the effects are. And then they have the support systems so that if you pass out, if you do overdose, you call the ambulance, they are there. You go there, the doctor is there. Now, Ghana, maybe the ambulance will come and pick you, but you go there and the doctor has a problem with the
ambulance. You have to buy petrol.
So we don't really have the support system back home. But this has nothing to do with gold hasn't helped us. No, it's an addition to it. If gold hasn't helped you, somebody is preventing gold from helping you, go and deal with that person. If cocoa hasn't helped you, somebody is taking your money, go and take your money back. Okay? And we know where to get all these things. Now, this is an addition. Now, I'm ready to do the cultivation because I'm a businessman. It is up to the state to put in the structures. Now, they ask a very important question. Now, are the other countries requesting for imports into the country because there's a shortfall? I don't know about that. We know America is a high consuming place. Now, other countries are high consuming place.
But this is where quality becomes the issue, right? Because we have the best. So, just like other narcotic drugs,
it's the HTC level. The HTC level is the one. Hey, hold on. Let me talk this one there. You are a moralist. Me, I'm not a moralist. So wait. The THC level is the one that make you high. Me, I like them all. When they are high, right? Say, hey, me, don't play with me.
Smooth running. I hear you.
They are smooth. And then those that are in reggae, you see, that is when the vibe comes, Right. The vibe and they
get high before they make all the good songs that we dance to. So
exactly. So we kind of have to balance it. You see, there is that perfect thing, but the world is all like a puzzle. We go round and try to fix. We are not able to get all the puzzles together. It is research. It is continuous study. And all these things that are going to come. Now, for Ghana, I don't think we should go the recreational way, even though people do that. The way the law was couched is still fine. I don't know if they're going to take it up. But you see, it has a lot of benefits. People want it. It is. You do know the amount of, I haven't checked the numbers, but do you know how much they're making out of this money? This product? You have no idea. And people, like you're saying, people live here and go to Jamaica because maybe they can't do a certain level of consumption or possession here. So they go to Jamaica and do these things.
No,
And
they
our brothers went for the year of return. Now they've been going, and those that we know that do it, when they come, they say, "Man, you got a good stuff over there, man." They're gonna get it anyway.
All right.
So for me, our system, I understand the people that are going to come from our point of view. I also understand the medical explanation of where, the effect and the fact that we don't have the support system for that. So I will go strictly, commercial for industrial and, pharmaceutical purposes so that, we can use it for some form of drugs that we can need in the country for us to, get in, to be able to cure or, help people in some stuff. The God who created us, he hid all these kind of good stuff in various places, and as time goes on, we sip them. So please allow us to sip this good stuff so it can help people. And then
I hear
we'll be
you,
able
my
to get
brother.
to where we want to get to. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Let me
so
ask
much.
Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime, would you drive a Tesla?
Why not?
So the Tesla man, that's what he brought up with the Tesla.
Well, I hear you. Okay, guys, it's been great. Let's do last comments and bring the program to an end. Let me start from Kojo DC. Kojo, it's been great, listening to you today. Even though you were a little soft on Oforiata, but of course you have a party to defend, so no beef on that one. But I really particularly enjoy your spirited discussion of marijuana. I think it's past due, by the way. I think that should be legalized long ago. We just do stupid things. The things that will help us, we wait for the white man to come and tell us before we do them, which is crazy.
When we used to eat ngokoko, the white man said not go. Palm oil, the normal
palm oil.
Say that again.
They said it's not good. It's not good for us.
Yeah.
The other one. Now they're saying that one is the best one.
Yeah.
Right? And I was talking about charcoal with plantain head that we used to brush and make your teeth. They say it was bad. Now they have charcoal and they're selling it.
Now charcoal, there's charcoal even in the bath soap. There's charcoal everywhere now.
Everywhere. That is
crazy.
A good thing for us. Our ancestors, all these things, the ancestors had those things hidden. And then we'll sit down, the Kosibroni will come and lie to us and pick us and then take our brains.
And then Kosibroni even say your ancestors are responsible for your misfortune, so you should curse your ancestor every time you pray. But when you come here, they name their streets after their ancestors. It's just...
And look at it. Recently, when I was listening to the news, we have all these artifacts that was taken from Africa. And then the French says, it's not right, we can't keep it well, but they are keeping it for us. Have you heard this thing before?
Right.
The next day, they will come take all the soil. And then my brother Lifetime will tell me, I understand the moral aspect of it, but sometimes, and then the religious aspect of it, but sometimes we should also be open-minded and be ready for changes that we'll do it on our own. We don't have to wait for somebody to come lead us. We have to be able to do things on our own, do something different, not doing over and over. So that's what I want. But before I go,
but DC, some of us, we are not waiting for the white man. I have my nightclub with a strip club attached to it. I have my church. I have all these businesses back home because I'm not waiting for no white man to come tell me there's a God somewhere that I gotta serve. When you come in Germany, prostitution is legalized. Look at we are here in America. You see, they say the drug is illegal and all that, but come to the street of Chicago and see what is it that you want that you won't get in the street of Chicago and other places in America. They know, but they know how to control it. So they come to your system. They don't want you to get the benefit. We will take every little one after the other. We just need the money. Last time, I'll talk to you. I have a business for you. Kojo, I have a business for you. Alfred, I have a business for you. We will get into business. We won't only come here and talk and leave.
All right, I hear you, my brother.
The DEA in the United States spend close to $32 billion a year in the enforcement of drugs. Meanwhile, over $120 billion comes in drugs every day. You understand? So that is something it's not like if I already said it. It's what the people want. It's something that is now prevalent everywhere. Everybody knows the people are doing it. Even in the federal level, they wish they could. In my transportation business, the transportation, which is FMCA, is now considering allowing drivers to smoke. You understand, without having any negative effect on them, because at the end of the day, it's better than heroin, it's better than alcohol, it's better than cocaine, all of those things combined. Those are very dangerous.
But they also said it's a gateway drug, right? You just start smoking it, then you're gonna go to the next thing, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Whatever you're going to have people who want to be more excess of whatever, right? So we can't even block them. We have to just study, like all the articles I read. What they wanted to do is the government should give some kind of leeway for people to make a lot of study. Once you have a more samples of things, instead of having 5 people being used, for example, if you have maybe 100,000 people, at the end of the day, it will give you an idea what the cost analysis of it, the benefit, and then the disadvantages of it. That's what I'm trying to say. So, as I'm saying, let me end with this. The Washington, D.C. chapter here, we are organizing our last summer picnic, which is the Oktoberfest. So, in the collaboration, we are not collaborating, but the embassy will be representing, educating people like you did in Chicago. So I'm inviting you all guys. If anybody will be here in DC on 1st October, we are organizing it. I'll put more on the platform as well. So I invite you all guys to join us, and people who are listening as well. We are here in October, Oktoberfest. We are going to do our last month of the summer, which will be the MPP Washington DC chapter, organizing and headed by our chairman. And then I'll put more on the platform. I think I put one flyer on there, but we'll be concluding the meeting by
pick up the call.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, cool.
So that's all. And then, like I said, you always be awesome. And the panels, my brother, my boss, self, and then Lifetime. It's always a pleasure to be on here with you guys. And I appreciate we should keep on doing this to help Brother Ghana. And thank you, Amos, you too, for doing it every day.
Thank you so much, and we'll be joining you at Washington to celebrate the MPP on October 1st. All right, so Lifetime Legacy, over to you. Any last words before we get out of here?
Alfred, my last word will be on the first discussion. I think the moral people with conscience are beginning to speak up about the wrongdoing in the government. I'll continue to call on those who have remained silent for a long time to do so. Maybe that is what will awake the conscience of the people in authority. If that is the way for us to go, we are calling on those who are sitting on the fence to get up now and speak for them to be counted. They should not wait until when it's about one administration or another administration, they will come out and speak. But when it is about another person, they will go into silence. When they happen that way, some of us will describe them as hypocrites. So we want to hear all of them speak on the wrongdoing going on in the country, or as far as the governance is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you're asking that Anyansanfoy, they should come and talk. Okay, understood. All right. Ganja planter. Kakape. Over to you, sir.
I have another name, right?
You do have another name.
Only man, I have a lot of names, man. I have a lot of names.
I hear you.
When I'm in Ghana, I'm called honorable, especially when I'm dishing out the money. But they don't know. But they don't know that it's a bait.
Honorable. Let them get comfortable using that word so that you
don't. Ask what do you call it? There was one time Jesus Christ sent for a donkey to be brought to him.
Yeah.
And he instructed that when you go and you are asked that, where are you taking it? Say that for the purpose of our country, where my brother Efa and Koju Efa will be useful for the country and making law. the name ganja farmer should be relegated to the back door.
Of course. It's only for today.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the opportunity today. Now, today we talked about two main issues: the economy and Oforiata's position, and what this guy said about the exchange rate, interest rate, and all that kind of stuff. Now, let's get this throughout history. With time, people that we demonize become heroes. There was one time we were told that the world was flat, right? And then we find out that it was wrong. So people that said it was wrong, they were killed for nothing. And then later on, we realized it was the truth. There was a time, for those of you who are Catholics, they were talking about purgatory, right? And then they had to abandon that concept because they realized you cannot intercede for somebody that sinned and is died and all that kind of stuff. There has been a lot of stuff that over time we say, no, that is not the situation. So let's go to this way. So, the question of a situation, a pending situation, in which case people are calling for reshuffle, take this off and bring all, it's opinion and stuff like that. But when it's coming so strong, then, the appointing authority, the one that is the head, you ought to do something. And for us to see if you are right or you are wrong, you get what I mean? That helps, So that one is up to the president and all that kind of stuff. And then the call on Mr. Oforiata's former, data bank and all that as transaction advisors and all that kind of stuff to do, it helps that if people are pushing towards a particular direction, that if for the good of the country, let's do it the way that people want, because after all, we are elected to serve the people and stuff like that. We've also touched on a very important thing. Now, when we are here in discussion, there was one time people were talking about if ganja is legalized, then what is the value of Ghana? Because that person is talking about morality and all that. When we are having a debate and discussion, let's look at science, okay? Because science cuts across. But when you bring in issues about religion and this and blah, 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 then you are going to a turf that is controversial and for everybody too. On a religious platform, you can make that debate, but on a place where we need people to try it, for us to, come up with it is good or bad, let us allow that to flow. For me, it is good for us to do it for, to help patients that is very good. It's abusive use and its effect on the body. We're gonna use about it. Me sitting here, why do people consume tobacco? I have read about it. I look at it. I look at what it is doing to human being, and it is nowhere near what ganja or marijuana or cannabis will give to the human being. So let's balance the situation and give some of us the people that are not in government, that are looking for, some 10-acre cultivation of marijuana because I can get some money, the opportunity to grow my stuff. I'm seriously planning with one guy in Ohio who is doing the serious research. We are thinking of at least getting a 10-acre here and start our cultivation. But man, the amount of money to dish out before you get it is not an easy thing. But we will not give up. We will continue to press.
Eva, even the people who are talking about so Musumu Nyame sing Israel for Anna.
The God of Israel. Then you say Monsam Tawa. Monsam are you of Israel, a herb of Israel. And so on a more serious note, let's look at all issues. There is not a single human thing that everybody is going to say, I approve it. Somebody is going to have an issue. But at the end of the day, what is the general good for all of us? And then we take that into consideration and then we move from there. Now, last point is this show. Now, when we come here, as much as possible, we've gotten the opportunity to be known if what we are saying is the truth, if what we are saying is what is out there, if what we are saying is new information that people can consume. Alfred put a lot together to be able to give us the opportunity to come here and make sure this thing grow. Let us help it to grow. Let us help it to be number one in the African community, in the diaspora, and globally. And when we come here, each of us have to contribute our quota by preparing and by coming here and give submissions that will say yes, thumbs up to it and stuff like that. And I have no doubt that each and every one of us are capable and have the ability to do that. Alfred, God bless you. Alfred, thank you very much. And we always pray that we have the strength and you have the ability to do the research and give us what we need to be.
I think your sign is off now. FI, we can't hear you.
Your son is off.
You're good now. You're good now. All right. Okay, so yeah, that's been a fine. Although the last few things he said we couldn't hear it. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank everybody for coming and watching us today. We really appreciate it. Today has been fun. We had some really great discussions here. I enjoyed all the things we talked about, whether we want to change a few people in government so we can continue on this path of growth and pull ourselves out of the type and kinds of issues we are currently dealing with: depreciating CD, high level depreciation, inflation, etc., etc. Maybe a change in the managers of affairs could perhaps do us some favor at this point, and that's what we are all advocating for. As far as marijuana goes, there are pros and cons, but the consensus is, if you can make some money from it, let's people are already consuming it anyway. If you're going to be a consumer, you be a consumer. It wouldn't matter whether it was legalized or not. That would, perhaps change your mind as to whether you want to be a consumer. Whether it's legal or illegal, you can still consume if you want to. So what is the point? Why deny us that additional income that we could be pulling from such an endeavor? I want to take the opportunity again to say thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alfred Amuzu. For this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 6 p.m. Ghana time, it is Ghana Agenda. Please join us, share the link so others can also enjoy our conversation. We'll be back next week. Again, see you next week. Bye-bye.